I've had many people leak my home address all across social media, which has resulted in an influx of people coming to visit my house over the years, including people who have thrown animal bones and flesh in my driveway and on my car. We've called the police and basically they said, "Oh, I don't think we'll be coming out for this one." The teenagers actually started following us to our car. At that point I was getting a little bit worried. They were all obviously egging each other on, like who knew what was going to happen at that point. So we just tried to get back to the car as quickly as we could. A gang of teenagers have come to my house to harass me, and this time they actually threw a bag full of water which almost hit my mum in the face. The other ones, they actually threw a drink or ice in the back of my head, and on one occasion a woman actually threw her drink in my face. And then we heard something hit the car, and Jack said, yeah, they've thrown a rock at the car. It's just dangerous behavior.
Hey, what's good, guys? Just like her internet mother, Tash Peterson is also in serious danger. Over the last few months, she has been attacked and pursued by many different people. Now, these attacks have left her mostly unscathed, but it shows a precedent for people who are actively searching for Tash Peterson with the intent to do her harm. And this is even escalated to the point where people are showing up at her house, throwing water balloons at her, throwing animal products like ham, salami, chicken bones, etc., and even doing donuts in her driveway on a bike. Now, most of these attacks are coming from young teenagers. There are some adults in the mix as well. And at the moment, they're somewhat harmless. But the issue is, people know where she lives and the attacks have already begun and they've only gotten worse. This is actually one of the reasons that vegan teacher left Canada, was she was being constantly harassed by people showing up at her house and doing pretty much the same thing that they're doing to Tash, they did to her. It drove her out of Canada and into Italy. And now that same thing is happening to Tash as we speak, and it's only a matter of time before somebody does something legitimately dangerous that could genuinely harm Tash in a meaningful way. It's probably in her best interest to maybe stop being a public enemy. Not that I'm condoning any violence against her, I'm absolutely not. But as a person in this situation, it's your responsibility to protect yourself, as no one is going to do it for you. She's even called the police and they told her, sorry, we're not gonna help.
So once again, a gang of teenagers have come to my house to harass me, and this time they actually threw a bag full of water which almost hit my mum in the face. They also do burnouts in the driveway. There's just like so many skid marks left from them now. Some of them were even wearing balaclavas. They were swearing at us and, I don't know, just racing up and down to the house. We've called the police and basically they said, "Oh, I don't think we'll be coming out for this one." It's just dangerous behavior, and something needs to be done about it. Why aren't the police here?
Well, I'm no expert on, the law enforcement in Australia, but I could think of a few reasons why the police may not be showing up at your door to help you. One, they're children for the most part, they're young. They are in public, with what they're doing. Some of it's not, like on your, driveway making donuts and stuff or whatever, but this is something that police often don't really think of as worth coming out for, let's put it that way. Secondly, you're not exactly a friend of the police. They definitely don't like you. They know who you are, and they really probably don't want to help you because you've been nothing but trouble for the city that you live in, for the country that you live in, and they're really not happy with you. So I don't think that's necessarily a valid reason for the police to not help somebody in need, but I could see there being some bias, like, it's Tash Peterson, like, screw her. And then third, there's a hypocrisy element, because if you really think about it, what these kids are doing is almost no different than your protest. You go inside of places like Louis Vuitton, butt naked, covering your own period blood, causing a whole ruckus, a private establishment, a place that you are not allowed to be in unless you are conducting business and you are there for a purpose that aligns with the store's interest, which you were not. So you are effectively trespassing, you're told to leave and you refuse to do so. Or when you go inside of like a KFC or a grocery store or something, you pour blood all over their counters, effectively vandalizing their property, which is no different than them doing donuts on your property. It's exactly the same. You could even argue that these kids are protesting you. While you're protesting the abuse of animals and the animal holocaust, these kids showing up at your house are protesting you. And they are also doing it on private property, your property, but you also do it on private property, the property of these businesses. You see the one-to-one correlation here. But you think you're justified in what you're doing it because you're doing it for what you believe to be a just cause. Well, you can apply that same logic to them. They're protesting you because they think it's a just cause to do so, because you are going around making other people's lives miserable and making people suffer and making things suck for everybody around you, which I think is a valid thing to protest. That doesn't mean they can physically harm you, like the people that, splash you with drinks and stuff. That's a step too far. But the kids going to your private residence outside of it and not breaching your property, riding around on their bikes and shouting at you, saying names, that I feel should be protected under free speech, just as you feel your protest should be protected under free speech. So you can wah all day and make yourself a victim, but in reality, this is you getting your own treatment. This is you getting a disgusting vegan taste of your own medicine. And it doesn't taste good, does it? Now let's talk about some of these other instances where they are definitely crossing a line. Again, it's not a line that Tash Peterson hasn't crossed, which if she's okay with herself doing it, she should also be okay with these people doing it to her. So this would be like the instance where they're putting food items on her car and harassing her in that way.
Over the years, I've had many people leak my home address all across social media, which has resulted in an influx of people coming to visit my house over the years, including people who have thrown animal bones and flesh in my driveway and on my car. Now, I've just been in my room and I heard a group of teenagers shouting out my name, so I went out to see what was going on. So you're telling me you're vegan?
Vegan. I'm a carnivore. I'm vegetarian.
So you're a carnivore, and then everyone else is claiming they're vegan.
I'm not gonna, he's not vegan.
Yeah.
Yo, I ain't even gonna lie to you, like these kids are like mad fucking annoying, so we're not gonna watch all of that. It would be torture for you, it'd be torture for me, it'd be torture for all of us. It ain't happening. We will watch some of it, but that's about it. Now I do want to talk about her obviously complaining about these protesters. We're gonna call them protesters. If she gets to be called a protester, these kids get to be called a protester. Now, they've shown up at her home and they've, thrown animal flesh all over her car and stuff like that. And hey, if you don't like people doing this to you, how do you think people feel when you do this in their businesses? The same thing, pouring blood, playing the screams of animals, walking around with a pig head. Like, it's literally no different. You're doing the exact same thing with your protest. Now they are protesting you live in the flesh, but you don't like it. When the shoe is on the other foot, you don't like it. Well, if that's the case, stop wearing the damn thing.
I call bullshit.
Not
one of you could tell me what veganism means.
It definitely means.
It's not a diet.
Anything. Can't on definitely vegan shit. I went to the back and just grab 3 of these out.
So do you guys know what exploitation is?
It's like when you use somebody. It's using somebody.
One at a time.
Using someone or something for something they have. Well,
pretty close. You're right. You're pretty onto it. Yeah, it's using someone in an unethical or unfair way.
Now, I actually have to commend Tash here because she actually treats these kids well. She treats them with respect. She's kind to them. And even when she's using her propaganda spiel here, she's polite about it and she's respectful about it. She asks them decent questions. Do you know what exploitation is? And do you know what being vegan is? And they answer cordially, and they're not a pain in the ass. They are actually polite to her too, which is interesting because when she's confronted with these children at her front door, she can be respectful and kind and spread veganism in a polite and reasonable way. But when she's out at a protest that she's planned and orchestrated, it's all screams and you're a murderer and it's abuse and it's attacks and it's defamatory statements.
You're celebrating Christmas with a Holocaust. If you're not vegan, you're no different to a serial killer. Non-vegans are no different to Nazis, animal abusers. Stop psychopathic asshole!
Jesus Christ, lady, calm down.
What's wrong with you? You're laughing! You're a f***ing psychopath! You smile because you have blood on your hands because you're a guilty piece of shit! Listen to their scream!
Why doesn't she show that same level of restraint and humility in the presence of a business that she is showing to these children? I don't really understand that. You would think that this would be a better method of protest than her typical, the type of protest that has landed her hundreds of thousands of dollars in fines and multiple lawsuits. It's just really odd to me, and I really don't understand her. I don't understand her angle, but this is a reason that people are showing up at her door. This is also the reason that people have been attacking her in public, in private businesses, out on the street, and things like that.
Recently, I've had quite a few incidents with teenagers assaulting me whilst I've been doing animal rights outreach. So I've just had a fourth incident where a teenager's thrown a drink, this time attempted to throw a drink in my head. The other ones, they actually threw a drink or ice in the back of my head, and on one occasion a woman actually threw her drink in my face. I was just trying to talk to the public to bring attention to the Holocaust of marine animals in the fishing industry. And I was in an outreach with an older man and it was getting like a little bit heated, and there were a lot of teenagers just circled around listening into the conversation and sort of shouting. It was sort of like harmless in that moment, but then the older man started trying to like rile up all the teenagers, and then I ended up in another debate with a teenager, and that's when someone tried to throw a 1 liter bottle in my direction. All the drink went on the back of my hair's like all sticky, but yeah, it didn't end at the drink. The teenagers actually started following us to our car. At that point I was getting a little bit worried. They were all obviously egging each other on, like who knew what was going to happen at that point. So we just tried to get back to the car as quickly as we could, but yeah, they were trying to block us from leaving in the car. They were like sitting on the bonnet. We finally managed to start like getting out, and they were actually like running after us. And then they even went down an alleyway because they knew the direction that we were going to like meet us on the side. And then we heard something hit the car. And Jack said, yeah, they're throwing a rock at the car. So
now I know some people wouldn't take the threat of teenagers particularly seriously, but there's a reason My Chemical Romance said that teenagers scared the living shit out of me. And there's seriously, there's a long list of reasons why you should be afraid of teenagers. A lot of them don't understand consequences. Like they think they can do certain things and don't really expect to get in trouble for things, or like they don't take things as seriously as, a fully grown adult. So they might be more inclined to slash your tires or throw a rock at your car, as they did. I mean, you could throw a rock through somebody's windshield and cause them to veer off the road and kill them. Like, it is a danger. Now, obviously in this situation, throwing a rock at our car wasn't going to cause any serious harm, but there's the potential for it. And it just shows you that these young teenagers here are likely to do some potentially dangerous things to Tash if they think it's a good idea, and it doesn't take much to convince a teenager that something stupid is a good idea. Trust me, I was a teenager once, and I did a lot of dumb things. It didn't take much convincing most of the time. So yeah, this is a serious danger. It really is. There's no telling what these kids are capable of. Tash really is in trouble. They know where she lives, and they've been showing up nonstop. It only takes one doofus to be like, hey guys, wouldn't it be funny if we set her house on fire? Hey guys, wouldn't it be funny if we slashed her tires? Hey guys, wouldn't it be funny if we made some kind of false report that she was like trying to attack us? Something like that. It just, the possibilities of how they could really screw Tash over are endless, and she really needs to take this seriously, or she may genuinely find herself in some very unwanted trouble, just like that vegan teacher. Real quick, y'all, before you go, if you guys enjoy true crime content at all, I have a third channel, Curlgator Mysteries. Probably a video on the screen from that channel. Go ahead and click on it and see what it's all about. Till next time.